Oh, I feel like I'm at a hockey game tonight. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks so much for joining us this evening. Please be seated. And I hope while you've been waiting for us, you've had a chance to read our acknowledgement to our friends and neighbors of the Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh, and Musqueam nations. Just before I call the meeting to order, there's just a few things I'd like to add. Last week, our fire department on Wednesday, and then our public works staff, each on consecutive days, had open houses for our staff, which was really nice to see people who work in this building over and having a lunch at the fire hall. And then we were invited up to the works yard. It's really healthy. And I couldn't help but to notice one of the fellows I was speaking with up at the works yard, who's a friend of mine, John Galicchio, who's one of our bylaw officers. And we were just sitting having lunch, and he shared with me that he had just done, Pascal, he had just completed a 60-kilometer run from Squamish to West Van, raising money for mental health. And there they are as they set off. And I just thought that is really great. And so I would like to play kudos. Thank you. And also, I just received notification today. There's a lady in our community who has a disabled son, and she has been lobbying hard and raising money, and really happy to learn that she has just successfully opened a completely accessible playground at St. Anthony's Church. And kudos to Carolyn and her son, Mateo. They've stuck with it, and it's available to anybody in our community. St. Anthony Schools. Thank you, St. Anthony School. Again. For those of you who have been paying attention to our little interaction, shall we say, with the provincial government and the Minister of Housing, we have published our response letter under my signature on our website. I think it's gone up today. It goes up tomorrow. So if you've got a burning desire to read a really insightful letter on housing, you might want to pick that up. And also, I just want to recognize that this Wednesday, we are turning the sod on the new West Vancouver Football Club's soccer bubble. And that is really great news for another sports facility in our community, which I think we're going to talk about a bit tonight, other sports facilities. So I'll ask for a motion to approve the, oh, sorry, Councillor Lambert.
Sorry. Congratulations to yourself, Mayor Sager. On the 19th of June, Mayor Sager was appointed to the Governance Committee with Metro Vancouver. So it's great that we have somebody from West Van having a seat on that committee. So congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. I don't know if it's congratulations or condolences, but it's going to be a bit of an undertaking. But yes, I must admit, I'm pleased that we have a seat at the table. There are 7 of us that have been in charge with looking at the governance of Metro Vancouver. Councillor Thompson, could I ask you to move the agenda, please?
Thank you. I'll recommend that June 23rd, 2025 regular council meeting agenda be approved as circulated.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Gambioli. Question, all in favor? Contrary, carried. And by the way, Councillor Lambert is with us. As you can see, he's joined us remotely today. Over to item number 3. I'll ask Councillor Snyder, please.
Thank you. So just before I make an introduction on item 3 for our presentation this evening, I see there's a lot of hockey fans in the crowd here today. I'm glad you made an appearance today. Not only are we going to hear a little bit about the idea of further ice rinks in West Vancouver moving forward. I don't want to disappoint any of those that were cheering for Edmonton, but Florida with a win does represent something very positive for West Vancouver. Our own born and bred Sam Reinhart, who plays for the Florida Panthers, not only did the team win, he got 4 out of the 5 goals in the Stanley Cup Finals First time that's happened since 1957, and only the 5th player in NHL history to score 4 goals in a final of the NHL, the playoffs. Not to mention last year when they won the cup, Sam also had the winning goal of the game in Game 7 Stanley Cup final. So I know Sam is, I know him personally, and I know he's very excited to bring the Stanley Cup back to West Vancouver, and has reached out to me to see if there's something that can't be done to really involve the entire community when he brings the Stanley Cup back home this summer. So keep an ear out for that. So congratulations to Sam Reinhart.
You're here.
Reading on that, there's a reason Sam some of the other very successful NHL players that we have are from West Vancouver, Morgan Riley, Jake Christensen, Morgan Riley, Alex Kerfoot, and a number of others who have played in the NHL or still play in the NHL or professional hockey over in Europe. So with that being said, I know we have a presentation coming forward, so I would like to invite those that are doing the presentation for Skate Forward to please take the stage.
Thank you. These are our friends from Enhance West Van, and we are very grateful for all of the time and energy you donate to our community. Over to you.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Today, I am joined by Director and past Board Chair Peter Catavatis, as well as Allison Gels, our Senior Manager of Community Services, and our many supporters, as you can see in their jerseys behind us, to present on Skate Forward initiative. And I'm going to pass it over to Peter to take us through the presentation tonight. Oh yeah, sorry, I was told to do that, and
Perfect. Thank you very much. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you for having us this evening. Here's a little overview of what we're going to talk about. We're going to go through a quick history on the background on the work that has been done over the past 12 years to get us where we're at today. We're going to go through the importance of skating and ice sports in our Canadian culture. We're going to go through the issues that we're facing in West Vancouver as it relates to ice sports and current and future needs of our community. We're definitely going to touch on why a multi-sheet ice complex is urgent, what we think are key elements to consider moving forward with decision-making, and finally, our recommendation to Council to move this advocacy project forward. When Enhance West Van was established in 2009 under a joint operating agreement with the District of West Vancouver, the Society was given joint oversight over the Community Centre, Aquatic Centre, and Ice Arena to have a community lens on programs, the services to best meet the needs of our community. In 2013, the Society launched the Blue Sky Task Force, a volunteer-led initiative to explore future recreational and cultural needs for West Vancouver's civic site. This group included experts in planning, architecture, and storytelling. The task force was supported by the district and even included the district's Director of Corporate Services on the committee. In 2017, after 4 years of development, the emerging vision was presented to Council in December 2017. Council then asked the Society to take the plan to the full community consultation process. In spring 2018, there were emergency repairs required, and Council approved the replacement of the arena floor. Also in the spring of 2018, the community engagement process began and was led by Idea Space, a strategic communication and engagement specialist firm. 74% of respondents supported the original emerging vision plan. In July 2018, the summary results of the community engagement process were presented to Council, and Council unanimously approved forming a district-led steering committee to refine the vision and determine next steps of the emerging vision. In the fall of 2018, municipal election brought in a new council, and that council's strategic review delayed any progress. And then COVID-19 stalled further efforts just as the steering committee's terms of reference were drafted. Fast forward to August of 2024, Enhance West Van formed a working group to revisit emerging vision, as it was clear that the highest priority the community currently needed was to address the need for a multi-sheet ice complex in West Vancouver. So here we are. Skating and ice sports are deeply rooted Canadian tradition and been part of the national fabric since before Confederation. It connects generations through recreation, culture, and shared experiences. Ice arenas are more than just sports venues. They're essential community infrastructure. They're hubs where families, schools, and local sport organizations come together year-round and foster civic pride. I too was a rink rat growing up. As we know, grassroots access to skating is key to Canada's success on the global stage in winter sports. It's imperative that municipalities continue to support community opportunities that invest and ensure that talent and opportunity can grow from every neighborhood. It's important to showcase that skating is one of the few activities that transcends age, background, and ability. Whether it's a child taking their first steps on the ice, seniors enjoying recreational skating, para or adaptive sports, or new Canadians experiencing a classic winter pastime, everyone can participate. Facilities are critical to delivering the healthy, connected communities we all want to live in and be part of to bring the Stanley Cup back to West Vancouver. West Vancouver is changing. Our community is growing, not just in population, but in how people are engaging with local activities and recreation. Ice sports in particular are seeing a surge. Hockey, figure skating, ringette, public skating are all growing. Youth enrollment is rising and adult participation is up as well, with leagues, drop-ins, and senior groups all filling up fast. But our facility hasn't kept pace. The current rink in West Vancouver is at capacity. It's no longer meeting the basic needs of our community. The result? Fewer opportunities. Limited access to ice means kids are on wait lists, teams are leaving the community to find ice time, and public skating time is being reduced. It's not just about ice, it's about access, equity, and the ability for our residents to stay active and engaged. Coming together fosters a stronger sense of community and vast improvements in mental health. This is a pivotal moment. We want to support the growth of our community and keep West Vancouver a place where people of all ages can thrive. We need to expand our recreation infrastructure to meet that demand. Again, the current arena is no longer meeting the basic needs of our community. I want to start by thanking so many people filling this room today who are here representing the stakeholder groups. This isn't just about one group, it affects our entire community. Ice time is a shared resource and supports a wide range of people, programs, and priorities in West Vancouver. We have adult and senior hockey groups. Many are now traveling to Burnaby, North Van, even further. I personally play in a league out in Richmond. BC Spartans hockey. Community public skating. Public skate times are being reduced or eliminated in some weeks to accommodate organized programs, limiting inclusive access for casual users and families. District-led lessons and programs, from Learn to Skate recreation programs for children, youth, and seniors, municipal services are also being squeezed out. North Shore female hockey. Growing demand for female hockey programs means girls and young women have fewer opportunities locally if we don't expand. The Northwest Hawks zone hockey. Northwest Vancouver ringette. You can cheer. Private rentals and supporting skating development. Coaches and skill development providers contribute to local sport growth and also help subsidize arena costs, but they can't find time in West Vancouver. North school district programs. Schools depend on the rink for curriculum-based skating, an important part of physical literacy, especially for younger students. Vancouver Skating Club. This foundational figure skating group develops balance, discipline, and teamwork, but its growth is now limited as figure skaters find it difficult to use the ice in West Vancouver as it's not regulation size. West Vancouver minor hockey. As mentioned, just a few here today. As mentioned, they're at capacity with a 35-player wait list and multiple teams having to leave the community for ice time. And West Vancouver residents, families, youth, adults who want access to local, inclusive, affordable recreation, they're being turned away or forced to travel. In short, it's a community-wide issue. Lack of ice isn't just an inconvenience, it's a barrier to health, belonging, and community participation for people of all ages and abilities. Now, why is a multi-sheet ice complex urgent? Well, we're at capacity and there's no more available ice time at the West Vancouver Arena to accommodate the growing demand for skating and hockey programs. West Vancouver has the lowest rink to population ratio in Canada for any sizable municipality. The current arena is over 60 years old, built in 1963. Hundreds of local kids and sports organizations currently rely on limited ice time. Many players, parents, residents are all commuting outside of West Vancouver, even off the North Shore for ice time. Figure skating groups are challenged by the current rink size for their skill development. West Vancouver minor hockey is a clear example of this pressure. They currently have a wait list of 2 full teams who can't participate simply because there's no ice time available. Additionally, 4 of their teams, plus goalies, are practicing at arenas outside of West Vancouver, and in some cases even in Burnaby, just to be able to play. This is not a short-term issue. It's a growing trend, and West Van minor hockey has grown 20% for the past 3 years. And now they've hit a wall. Not because there's no interest, clearly there is, but because there's no more ice. This illustrates the broader challenge of the growing community's demand. Pictured in this slide here is the North Surrey Sports and Ice Complex that features 3 sheets of ice, all para-ice hockey ready, a weight room, and fitness studio. West Vancouver has the opportunity to develop something special for the community that meets the accessibility and health needs for its growing population. So key elements to consider is that West Vancouver needs more than 1 ice sheet to accommodate the current and future demands of its residents. With community members leaving the North Shore to access ice and current sports organizations unable to accommodate demand, we need to build a multi-sheet ice complex to ensure current and future needs are being met. The current ice sheet at West Van Arena is 15,000 square feet, which is under regulation size. A standard 17,000 square foot ice surface is required for most competitive ice events. Continuity of service is also essential. The current arena must stay open during any future construction and development. And in speaking with other West Vancouver user groups, continuity of service is key and their primary concern. Users cannot afford service gaps as temporary shutdowns risk losing programs and sport organizations altogether. And investing in the right design now will ensure long-term success and sustainability of our growing community. Today, Enhance West Van is here to ask Council to make the following recommendation. Staff establish a District of West Vancouver-led advisory roundtable consisting of District of West Vancouver staff, Enhance West Van directors, and community members to develop a project plan and budget for the planning process of a new multi-sheet ice complex. And that staff report back to Council in fall of 2025 once the project plan and budget for the planning process is complete. We, Enhance West Van, is committed to the future of the project and will support the initiative any way Council sees fit.
Wonderful presentation. Thank you very much. I believe your recommendation is going to fall on friendly ears this evening, but I'll turn it over to members of Council. Councillor Snyder?
It would take me to make the recommendation at this point, or?
Well, that would be my vote.
Happy to do so. Thank you for the presentation. I think that's fabulous. I think the per capita, the statistic that you had, Peter, on the per capita, what was that again for West Vancouver?
We have 1 arena divided by its population, and every other city of our size in Canada has at least 2.
At least 2, and that's all across Canada. So that's a sad state. With that said, I'd like to recommend that the recommendations that staff establish a district-led advisory roundtable consisting of district staff, Enhance West Vancouver directors, and community members to develop a project plan and budget for the planning process of a new multi-sheet ice complex, and the staff report back to Council in fall of 2025 once the project plan and budget for the planning process is complete.
Thank you. Councillor Cassidy. Seconded. Thank you, Councillor Watt.
Yeah, thank you so much for the presentation. You know, and I've always viewed skating, well, it's not just my view, it's ingrained in the Canadian psyche, but it is one of the fundamental elements of Canadian life. And throughout most of this country, It is one of the most highly accessible forms of recreation in winter. So as somebody who came from the Toronto area, I found it astonishing when I moved here with my young kids who are humiliated as young adults that they don't skate. You know, we got them on the ice a little when we moved here, but you know, with the pressure on that arena, it just you know, there just isn't the time and space for young people, old people to get out there. I skated until not too long ago myself. So I really look forward to seeing this go forward and turning West Vancouver into a community like all the other ones in this country. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Watt. Councillor Lambert, I see your hand up.
Yes, can you hear me?
Thank you, Councillor Lambert.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Is his mic on?
Should be. Can you hear me?
Sorry, Councillor Lambert, we're not hearing you. So is your microphone on?
Yes, it is.
It is on. No, he was speaking. Can we work on that? And Councillor Lambert, I'll be right back to you. I'm going to take Councillor Cassidy while our corporate officers see if they can fix it. Councillor Cassidy.
Thank you very much for your presentation. It was excellent. In my previous term on council, I was on the board, well, sat as liaison with the Enhance West Van, and went through the Blue Sky and then the Emerging Vision, and visited the various rinks in the Lower Mainland that had multi-use various sheets of ice. And was definitely at that point in time, and as I am now, in favor of proceeding. But as you know, with everything in life, where's the money? So, and because this is a big ticket item, as is everything in life these days, it seems. So as we are waiting for staff to come back and so forth, is there any thought to going around within the skating community, both amateur and professional skaters, passing the hat, so to speak, with the opportunity for naming rights if the dollar figure is significant enough? Because this is going to be about a $50–60 million project, I should think.
Yeah, we don't know the exact numbers yet, and that's the stage we want to get to, but there's absolutely the opportunity for naming rights. In fact, I would foresee multi-stages of funding.
Right,
to make
okay,
this happen.
good, great. I would be starting now because, well, I'm not here to go through and read the minds of my fellow councillors, but I would surmise that you have a fair degree of support amongst the community.
Yes,
thank you.
I agree. Over, Scott, any luck with the microphone? Councillor Lambert, can we try again?
Okay, we'll try again. Can you hear me?
Can he type?
Councillor Lambert, could I suggest you leave the meeting and come back in? Sometimes that works. Just
Okay, I'll try that.
Is our volume down?
Our volume is quite high.
Yeah, no, we should be able to hear him, and we didn't have this issue last meetings when we had a member of the public on the Zoom, so I'm just got ITS on the line, and so doing our best here. Sorry about that.
Councillor Lambert, hold the phone.
Theo says you can hear him on Zoom. So can Marla.
Coming back in.
Yeah.
I bet this has happened to everyone once when they were on this.
His audio, Councillor Lambert's audio was coming through through YouTube, so it may be that he just needs to try logging back in. And
Okay, Councillor Lambert, can you?
Is
he logging back in?
As soon as I see his name, I'll try to promote him.
Councillor Cassidy.
Since there's some free airtime, one of the, and we have Councillor Lambert, whatever your name is, Watt, who we have the luxury of having moved here from Toronto, God bless us all. And anyway, having said that, obviously, when you live in the East, you have a greater opportunity to skate because it is absolutely so freezing there that you can go out on public lakes and so forth and rivers, whereas we don't have that luxury here. And so many of our youth have the great fortune to be doing their skating at the Hollyburn Country Club and beginning to excel in this sport as a consequence. But one should not need to be a member of a private club to have the opportunity to learn to skate and to excel and to have the opportunities therein. Just wanted to add that to the equation.
I feel like grabbing my phone and just calling him.
Why don't you just delete them?
You don't, oh, there we go. Let's try again.
Oh, does that work?
He's not moving.
Everybody wants to hear you. Okay,
Well,
hold the phone.
no. Where are you going?
Here, Sager, I'll get him on the line.
Okay, you'll get him.
Going old school.
Hey ho.
Hello, Councilor Lambert. Oh, you need to.
Turn off your.
Councilor Lambert, you need to turn off your speaker, I'm afraid, for this to work. Or volume down.
Try that again.
On your computer, Councilor Lambert. On your computer. If you can mute your computer, then we should be able to make this work.
Councilor Lambert, maybe just take the phone and go in another room. I hope he's got something really important.
I don't know why it's
I
on.
could just give up. Just-
Oh, I can.
Oh.
He's giving up. No.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Councilor Lambert, I'm so sorry. We're sitting just on the edge of our seats.
Nope.
Okay, well, we did try, didn't we? So any other?
Councilor Lambert, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Oh,
No, this is,
okay.
you know, I was signed in and I tried the audio on and off and rejoining. So for whatever reason, it's not working. So I'll just leave the meeting because I can't participate now. So apologies. So we'll just leave it at that.
Oh, no, Councilor
Okay.
Lambert, you have the floor at the moment.
You can hear me?
Yes, you're live.
Okay. So for all this effort, my question was, has the expansion plans or the reconstruction of the seniors activity center been taken into account by enhanced in this effort?
We have been in contact with the Seniors Activity Center and their group and look forward to working with them in the future. There's no overlap at this time.
And I think it's,
Okay.
I think it's.
So I guess the follow-up question is, you know, have you undertaken any preliminary studies? Is there enough room on site and ability to accommodate all of these on the civic center site?
Hard to say at this time, but we would love to get to the stage where we can put a plan together.
But I think we should give comfort to everybody in the community. I think our council is likely going to be unanimously in favor of moving and finding a solution, but it will not be at the expense of either the senior center or the tennis. We will find a way to achieve this without interrupting other recreational and community uses. I'm sure that's your goal as well.
Continuity of service was a key
Absolutely.
to our considerations.
I think it's absolutely important.
Okay, but that was my only question, make sure that everything that's on that civic site is being considered in this. And so it's a great initiative and hope to see some positive results out of that. So with that, I'll sign off on this complicated attempt to participate in this meeting.
Thank you, Councillor Lambert.
Okay, take care.
I see no further questions. Can I call the question? All those in favor? Contrary, the motion is carried. Thank you very, very much, everyone, and work begins. Perhaps given we have some young people that probably should head home, we'll
I know, let's just somebody's on, you know, his mic, like, not on the speaker, or not on the Zoom, but his mic on his device, they have been turned off. So
That's what kills me. It's the same Zoom, both Zoom.
And while we're waiting is a good night, everybody. When we thought you'd stay for the riveting balance of the meeting. Is the representative of the ADBIA here? I'm just looking around.
She's outside. I think she might be outside. I'll go check.
Can we just see if anybody from the ADBIA is here for a presentation?
Mayor Sager, Maureen O'Brien is just outside the door waiting for a chance to get in.
There you go.
She's gonna have to do some floor checking and she'll get in here in a moment.
Okay, while we wait for her, oh, is she here? Thank you, Ms. O'Brien. You've got a bit of an act to follow here. Yes, you do. Mr. Webb, thanks for joining us this evening. And Ms. O'Brien, I'm just checking, are you able to keep it to about 10 minutes on your presentation? Oh, is it 20?
10.
Oh, no, it's, I just. We're ready, thank you.
Thank you for having us tonight. I'm joined by Tim Webb, who is our board chair. Maureen O'Brien, Executive Director of the Ambleside Dundarave BIA. And this is just a quick summary of our 10 years that the BIA has been around. So just a basic summary of who we are, our vision statement, our mission statement, which is basically to help our commercial areas through advocacy and community engagement. I'm not going to read every slide. People can read themselves. So I'll just give a high level summary. For what I've done for the presentation is I've highlighted every mandate that was within our bylaw that we have with the district, and then did a brief summary of what we've done with each mandate. So to create a strong West Vancouver brand, COVID happened, and that was the perfect opportunity to change the brand of the BIA from Our Beach Has More to It Takes a Village. Who knew COVID was going to have the impact that it did, and having It Takes a Village really made people come out and support our local businesses. And I'm really proud to say that we didn't have any businesses closed because of COVID. We had businesses open, and we had a couple of people leave that were going to leave anyway, but no one left because of COVID. Promoting new investment in commercial. So we do that. We have a really good working relationship with the planning department. We appreciate how much they included Imagine Ambleside in our feedback from Imagine Ambleside in the proposed local area plan. We advocate for developments within our commercial boundaries. And I'm a director on the board for BIABC, and we are very strong advocates for fair property tax, which we are trying to do as a BIA too. Our marketing strategy has been to promote West Vancouver to local, regional, and tourism markets. So we've done direct mail outs. BIA Bucks has been our biggest return. We've seen over $500,000 invested back into our local businesses over the past 5 years. We also have a Make a Day of It campaign, which encourages visitors across the Lower Mainland. And we have local tourism groups on these fairs, and we did a big campaign with TransLink last year to encourage people to just come and make a day of it with us. We actively recruit businesses. We try to find out what's missing from our makeup. And again, Imagine Ambleside said they wanted a fromage, and after 4 years, we can, thanks to the help of our chair and his family, we have fromage coming hopefully July 25th. So that, yes. And we represent the business community at municipal government level. So we work directly with district staff on the rezoning of our commercial areas. We are working with the district to find a solution that allows the implementation of pay parking near our commercial areas without having much impact on our businesses. We have advocated on behalf of our members on several files and issues. We've increased parking in our commercial area by finding creative spots for them. And we act as a liaison for our members directly with different departments, which is a big help for our members when they're just trying to run a small business. And then we participate in major events, including the Dundarave Hoedown, which we brought back after 20 years. We sponsor community events, Harmony Arts, Best of the West, West Coast Modern, Pumpkin Fest. And we're always trying to find new ways to support the community to the benefit of our members. And then streetscape, that's probably the easiest thing and what people notice the most, which would be our boardwalk in Dundarave, the murals that we've done, the lights and the trees, the Christmas decorating that we do, the sidewalk repairs, graffiti removals, beautification, and litter and cigarette butt cleanup. So that's what we've done in the last 10 years. And for the next 7 years, because that's what we're looking for as we move forward, we want to continue to do things. Do you want to take this over?
Sure. Tim, as you know, we're going to continue with the maintenance of the Dundarave Boardwalk. I think that's been an amazing addition to Dundarave. Maintenance of the lights and the trees throughout Ambleside and Dundarave. They have a lifespan and it's starting to fade. Sidewalk repairs is needed, which I think has been a great thing, not only to save potential lawsuits against the city, but it's making our sidewalks safer. I know that we're in Ambleside, and if you're outside of Van City on an icy day, it's tough to walk across that. We've also been in work with the engineering department, being extremely helpful. So I would give kudos to the engineering department. Dundarave Hoedown, one of the greatest things that happens in West Van each year. We have the beautification fund. So if you have a retail unit and you have an aging awning, or you want to do something to beautify the front of your building or front of your retail unit, you can come to the BIA and talk to them about it. And if it makes sense, there's a donation there, or yeah, I guess a donation. The murals have been great, and we're continuing to look at more of those. Economic development, create the right business mix in our areas. Maureen has been extremely great about the 20% per block for money exchanges, etc., which is great. We need to create foot traffic, and by having 10 of the same thing on one block, you don't create foot traffic. Going forward, our plans include suggestions from the members in our survey that we did. We'd like to bring back a signature event. We used to have West Van Days, as you know. In the old days, it was May Day. If any of you are like me that look at historical photos, it was one of the biggest events in West Van every year. I miss it. I remember it as a kid. Signage directing people up from the seawall to up into Dundarave is something that we'd like to do. There's thousands of people walk our seawall every day, but they don't turn up and go into Dundarave. And especially now with the pier wall, the length of the time of pier wall, 51% of one side of one block is uninhabited, and that creates a huge problem for the other tenants. Foot traffic creates foot traffic, and if you have that much vacancy, it's a problem for the rest of it. Litter cleanup, we're going to increase our efforts into that. More public seating in commercial areas. We want people to sit down. We want people to congregate. We want to have conversations, and while they're sitting there, they're going to notice the store in front of them. A waterfront activation with support from the district. As you know, we've talked about batch and various different things to try and create more use of our beautiful waterfront. It's some of the nicest real estate in North America. We should use it more. Street musicians and bucksters, just to try and create some activity around our retail units, as you know, and I think it's been sent around. It was shocking to me to find out the average age of our buildings in Ambleside and Dundarave. I mean, 1930s. The 1930s would probably represent 40% of our buildings. And lunch and learn. I'm not sure what that is.
Well, just for members to learn about social media or how to do a website and different things like that. It was one of the things our members said. So that's our plans for the future. That's that.
Thank
Was
you
I
very
less
much.
than 10 minutes?
8.
There. not too bad.
Fabulous. And thank you for all of that. And just put a little plug in, and to everybody who is with us tonight on August 2nd at 5 o'clock in Ambleside Park as part of the Harmony Arts Festival. We are inviting all of the people who have been involved in our community's 50-year vision and dream to create a continuous public waterfront. As everyone knows, I hope we've been successful in acquiring the last house on the waterfront. And we want to say thank you to all of the people over all of the years who have helped make that dream a reality. It's really not many other communities that have stuck so beautifully with something for such a long period of time. And you will see a sign going up shortly along the fence that is going to say, Ambleside, you are so beautiful. Well, it is. And we hope people go down and take their picture and post that. I'm sure Ms. O'Brien, you could set
Figure out a
up
way to
some
help.
Instagram, something.
Figure out a way to help.
Thank you. Councillor Gambioli.
Oh, yes, it's me already. Seven-year term, because it's been a 5-year and then a rollover into 5-year, right? And so this would be 7 years rolling over into another 7, is that?
No, we were 10 years. The first mandate was 10 years. It wasn't 5 and 5. It was
Okay, I
10.
thought there was a check-in at
No.
5.
No,
Okay.
it was a 10-year
understand.
mandate to
Okay.
start, and we went with 7 because I did a lot of research with other BIAs, and some have gone 5, some go 7, some go 10. But 7 is like that sweet spot where you can plan and budget long enough, whereas 10 years is a really long time to figure out how much money am I going to need in 10 years to do what we want to do. 5 is a little bit, it's a lot of work to do a renewal. So 5 is a little bit too soon to do it. So 7 is that sweet spot that most BIAs are doing right now.
It also gives more flexibility if you decide you don't want the BIA. It's, it's shorter term.
Yeah.
So if for some reason things don't, people change their minds, you're not locked in with us for 10 years.
Okay, and the motion is that we support it in principle, because actually what we have to do is go out and sort of double check with all the businesses and send out this petition before it becomes finalized.
But this isn't for that.
But for right now, this is just a
This is just
receipt
our-
for information.
Oh, sorry, I'm looking at
Yeah,
the next.
no,
You've gone too far ahead.
yeah.
I've gone too far. I'm
Yes.
on number
Yeah.
6. Sorry.
That's okay.
Right. Yes. Well, I will just make the motion then,
Yes.
unless, no, I see 2 green.
No, but it will have the motion and then
Okay.
we'll speak to it.
All right, so sorry, I am ahead of myself on my screen here. So I will recommend that the delegation from the ADBIA regarding ADBIA update be received for information with thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Watt. Thank you. And now Councillor Thompson.
Thank you. I just have a few questions. And I'm not sure I heard this right, but you said that you're committed to maintaining the lights in Ambleside and Dundarave that are already fading?
Well, the lights have a lifespan
Yep.
of, it depends on how long they're on. So Dundaraves are a lot brighter than Ambleside because Dundaraves go off at a certain time. So they last longer, but the lights generally last about 5 years. And I think we're already into year 3. So we'll be looking at having to replace.
Start
the-
replace as
yeah,
they go
yeah,
out?
As they go out and
They
fade.
just- they
Yeah,
fade
and a
away.
lot of trucks hit them with the trees and then they rip them down. So they'll be up for replacement in the next couple of years.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And then you did mention Purewell, right, which is a huge part of what's going on with your business association. Can you give a little bit of perspective or insight of your relationship with them, your timeline of when you expect the project to commence? I think we did the groundbreaking ribbon cutting a couple months ago, and just how you're going to kind of mitigate that impact on Dundarave.
I don't know yet.
Hmm.
I haven't seen a traffic management plan yet, so I
Oh.
don't know what's happening with that. The pipe work is being done now, and they hope to have that finished by the end of July. So right now they're working on 25th, and the next phase will be removing part of the median and replacing it on Marine Drive, which will have a big impact on our businesses already. It's already been a big impact because they've been closed for over a year with nothing in half of the block. So how we're going to mitigate it, I don't know yet until I see a traffic management plan and find out where their people are going to park and where we can get other people to park and find spaces for them. I'm hoping we can come up with a few creative solutions for that.
It's a challenge.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
challenge.
yeah. Any idea when you're going to see the traffic plan?
I'm waiting to hear from staff.
Oh, okay, okay. And then just over the years, we've batted around the idea of a car-free day in Ambleside. Has there been any more talk about that or movement on that?
I looked at it last year, and I had talked with TransLink, and they were willing to give a percentage of the cost of it, and the BIA was willing to give a percentage, but we couldn't foot the whole bill. So unless it's something that the district can partner with us on, we wouldn't be able to do it. We would need this financial support from the district to make it a true partnership with TransLink, the district, and the BIA.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you,
Sorry,
Phil.
one note on that. It's really expensive to close roads, especially now. Sorry.
Thank you, Councillor Watt, please.
Yeah, thank you for the presentation. And certainly Ambleside and Dundarave, the businesses couldn't find a stronger advocate than yourself, as we all know at this table. And I just really wanted to commend you on all of the things you brought forward, and, you know, just thinking of the Christmas tree and the patios and shaving down those sidewalks and everything else that you do. It is a noticeable difference. And people talk about it clear across the district. So thank you.
Thank you,
That's all.
Councillor Watt. Councillor Cassidy.
Hi, and thank you for your presentation. I just had some questions I wanted to ask. So the buskers, which I am in favor of, if you go to a place like Dublin on Grafton Street, there they are. A lot of them are extremely good singers, and of course they bring business to Grafton Street and therefore businesses to the stores. So where are you on the timeline for these buskers?
I had a meeting with the Arts Committee a couple of months ago, and then they were coming forward to ask, because they weren't legally allowed in West Vancouver. So they had to get permission, I think, and I think that was approved. And then I had said to them that we would happily have the buskers, but I would want it to be insured. Insurance is a big issue. So I would want the district to be insured under the district's insurance, and that's where it's been left.
Okay, would they be requiring a license from the district?
I don't know.
Okay, I think the buskers, and of course, I don't know for sure, but I've chatted to some of them down in North Van on the pier, and they operate under a license. So, as I said, I'm neither here nor there whether they have a license or not, quite frankly. I just think it definitely they would animate the streets. So
I think they would need a license if they were to be insured under the district.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
there you go. Well, they are in North Vancouver. Thank you. Now, my second question is, what is your opinion of newspaper boxes?
You want my honest opinion?
Well, yes, this is council. We're always
would-
honest.
I would like them all gone.
You would like
honest
them all gone.
Yes.
And may I ask why?
Because usually they're just used for garbage disposal. If you look in most of them, they are, and I'd rather see them delivered into coffee shops. If you want to go read the North Shore News, put them in. We have enough coffee shops and doctors' offices and dentist offices that they can display them around. Real estate magazines, I don't honestly know who picks any of those up anymore. Everyone looks online.
Okay, and obviously you suspect that my question was quite purposeful. And so my third question is, one of our big issues, unfortunately, and it's reasonably recent issue, is garbage. I remember growing up, there was the term litter bug. And, being called the litter bug was, social alienation almost. And yet you go everywhere now and there's litter here, there, and everywhere. I don't know who they think is going to pick it up, because it's definitely not going to be them. So amongst your signage, is there the thought, to, please pick up your litter, I'm not your mother, for example?
I don't know if people would even pay attention to that. I would like to see more garbage. There's no garbage cans on Clyde anywhere.
All right.
There's always lots of litter on Clyde. So we have a company called Mission Possible.
Yes, I've seen them.
That we hire, and they come once a month. It's very expensive. We spend a lot of money on them, and we only have them here for 2.5 hours, 1 day a week. I would like to find somebody that doesn't cost as much to be able to come more frequently, because they'll come, I think, the first Wednesday of every month, and 2 days later, it doesn't look like they were just here. So perhaps a few more garbage cans around that people can use might help with things, but yeah, because we don't have a lot of garbage cans. And they're not pretty, so I mean, that's another thing, in my opinion, I don't really like our primary colored garbage cans. I think I've seen others that are just all one color and it says what goes in each one. I don't think we need yellow and blue and whatever the other color is for people to know where the straws go and where the cups go and where paper goes.
Okay. And another very pointed question to which I'd like a pointed answer is the tree at 13th by the gas station, which is cold, dark, and forbidding at Christmas time. I know it's not in your neighborhood to light. Would you consider doing some lighting? A. B, putting pressure on the district to do it. C, seek donations.
I would put pressure on the district to do it. I got a quote on decorating
Yes.
that tree, Rockefeller style tree, and
Yes.
it was, $20,000.
Okay,
Yeah.
but that's 20,000 to put the lights up,
Mhm.
but not to take them down. So if we kept them up,
Mhm.
it would be 20,000 amortized over X number of years. So in my humble opinion, which is never humble, it's a good investment. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Watt.
Yeah, I just wanted to go back to the buskers. I had, that one slipped off my radar, but I do hope that we can find a way forward on that. And I'm just saying this as a reminder to council as well, because we really do need to engage with staff to determine how best to get these buskers insured. And the other thing regarding the boxes that become litter boxes, ironically, they create more litter because, as you said, nobody picks that stuff up to read. I personally hope they're all gone, except maybe the North Shore News.
Thanks very much, Councillor Watt. Councillor Thompson.
I just had one follow-up question with staff regarding garbage bins on Clyde. What is our general policy about garbage bins along commercial areas, and are there plans for Clyde Avenue bins?
I would have to look into that, and I can certainly get back to council.
We did have garbage bins on Clyde up till about 5 years ago.
Yeah,
They
I
were
think
all
we-
taken away.
Yeah, so we can look
And
into
it
that.
hasn't been successful taking them away.
No.
Yeah.
Provide a comment. With more garbage cans comes additional costs, so we need to incorporate that if that's the direction.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Snyder.
Yeah, just real quickly, great initiatives that we've seen over the years. I just wanted to reiterate, as Mr. Webb says, that the Dundarave, the Hoedown is a great event. I think we should put the date out there, August 22nd, so that everybody knows what day it is.
Thank you.
Good idea. Thank you. Seeing no further discussion, I'll call the question. All in favor? Contrary carried. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much.
you. Item number 5, the annual report. I don't believe there's a presentation on this, or is there? No. Members of council have been working on this, and I think we're very familiar with this document. Unless there are questions for Ms. Gordon, I would ask Councillor Cassidy to make the motion.
Yes, it is recommended that the 2024 annual report for the District of West Vancouver be approved.
Thank you, Councillor Gambioli.
I will second that motion.
Thank you. Is there no discussion? I'll call the question. All in favor? Contrary carried. Thanks very much. Item number 6, the ADBIA service bylaw renewal. Councillor Snyder, please.
Yes, I will make the recommendation as written regarding the Ambleside Dundarave Business Improvement Area Service Bylaw Renewal process.
Thank you. This is to continue the organization. Councillor Watt, do you second that? Thank you. Is there any discussion?
Mayor Sager, I apologize. We have a number of speakers signed up for this item.
Thank you. Councillor Gambioli, do you want to go first or hear from the speakers?
I realized this was sort of part of the last conversation, but since I mixed up the other one, I might as well just make us all confused. The busking bylaw question is also in the hands of our Arts and Culture Committee, who it's part of our work plan. And so I'm not sure if staff have any kind of update on that question of the busking bylaw, but our staff are working on it. No update.
Thanks very much.
Uh,
You didn't
through
know
the
you were gonna
mayor.
get
Sorry to
called
put you
on
on the
tonight.
Councillor Gambioli. We did make a motion that there could be a pilot project that the ADBIA could manage. And I did talk to purchasing staff regarding the insurance issue, and we were advised that we can't do that. So we'd have to find another way. But we are able to have a busking program, and the ACAC did make a motion at a meeting a couple of months ago to empower the ADBIA to produce an event or a program.
Okay, so someone's gonna figure out a workaround?
Thank you. There are companies that do provide it. The Municipal Insurance Association wouldn't provide insurance for buskers, but there are companies that have that specialized insurance.
Oh, there is insurance. We were advised not to pay for it because it's the way, if the district insures it, then and we are liable for everything. So really the insurance should be purchased by the ADBIA, the producer of the event or the program.
Oh,
Okay, well, there's your answer.
further discussion will be needed, I can see.
Yes, we
Got
can
it.
do that. Mhm.
Okay. We have the motion in front of us. There are people that want to speak. How many people wish to address council? 3?
2 or 3.
2 or 3. And who would like to speak first?
The first name is Ron Jaworski. The second name on the list
Jaworski.
is Diana Sonderhoff without an item number behind it. That might be the third person, and then David Jones.
Mr. Jaworski, it's great to see you tonight. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor and Council, for the time. As mentioned, my name is Ron Jaworski. I'm a long-term resident of North Vancouver, or of West Vancouver rather, as well as a commercial landowner on Marine Drive. For the entire time of the 10-year bylaw that we're talking about renewing, I can't believe 10 years has gone by already. But I would like to speak in favor and encourage council to adopt the bylaw. We've very much appreciated over the past decade as a commercial property owner, the assistance and of the BIA, and we've seen the benefit from the different activities, not only, as presented in the report that you've seen, but they've provided us with a wide variety of support as a commercial owner, and they've provided a wide variety of support to our tenants as business owners, small business owners, many of them coming into the community, needing help with the district, with permitting, with things like that, and we've seen those direct benefits. So they've certainly helped as well through the COVID challenges. We've heard about that. Nobody predicted that, but they were very active. We appreciate and our tenants appreciate the marketing initiatives, things like that, BIA bucks. And so we very much look forward to the next 7 years. We support all the ideas and the activities talked about, both in the presentation and the ideas that some of the councillors have presented. We're looking forward to that. So again, we support the renewal of the bylaw. We support the increase in the budget. We know that these activities are not without costs. And I think it's perhaps somewhat unusual for a resident and a property owner to come to council and say, please increase our taxes. But we're in that situation where we see the direct value, both in the last 10 years and we're looking forward to that direct value from this levy in the next 7 years. So that's my brief overview. Encourage support. Thank you very much, Mayor and Council.
Thank you very much. Thanks for joining us.
The next name on the list is Diana Sonderhoff.
Ms. Sommerhoff, thank you.
Oh,
no, sorry, we're on item 6.
I'll write that item down on the speakers list. Thank you.
We'll call you back. We're on item number 6 right now. Mr. Jones. Nice to see you, Mr. Jones. Thanks for joining us this evening.
Can you hear me okay?
You bet.
It's a great chance to be here today. David Jones, local business owner, resident, West Vancouver, not North Vancouver, but I just wanted to say, I started my business 10 years ago, And one of the first things that that mayor and council were discussing was removing the parking on Argyle. And I said, you know, there wasn't really any BIA or anything else. So I went out and put forms in all the businesses in Ambleside, explaining to the residents what was proposed and what their feelings were on it. And so I collected just shy of 4,000 signatures saying that the residents did not want this to happen. But now, fast forward, we have the BIA, and I have to say, as a business owner, I can't say how valuable they are to the business community, and probably kind of a pain in the ass for their part, but it really has enhanced the business areas of Ambleside and Dundarave, and I fully support you guys supporting them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. And your business feels like it's been there forever, not just 10 years.
10 years.
Feels much longer, like you've always been there. Anybody else? Ms. O'Brien?
I just want to take this opportunity to thank staff for all their help. Renewal is a lot of work. And in particular, Linda Gillen, she has been fabulous to work with. And I wouldn't have been able to get as far as we have got today without her assistance. So thank you to your staff.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that. Now, you did make the motion, didn't you, Mr. Councilor Snyder? You did. It's moved and seconded. No further discussion. I'll call the question. All in favor? Contrary, the motion is carried. Thank you. Item number 7, Councilor Watt, please.
Yeah,
Oh, there is going to be a presentation. Yes.
it does look like there's a presentation first.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The Arts and Culture Advisory Committee is providing an update to Council on the work done to date related to the Boathouse building. With us tonight is Scott Swan, Chair of the Arts and Culture Advisory Committee, and Christian Hall, Chair of the Art Museum Advisory Panel. And I'll turn the presentation over to Scott.
Thank you. Mr. Swan, thanks for joining us this evening.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mayor and Council. Just a quick recap on the timeline of this project. On February 24th, Mayor and Council proudly announced the purchase of the building formerly home to the Boathouse Restaurant in Horseshoe Bay, located on the waterfront at Sewell's Landing. The goal is to convert the space into an interim home for the West Vancouver Art Museum until a purpose-built arts center is constructed in Ambleside. And we recognize that this could take some time before that happens. Over to you, Kirsten.
Okay, thank you. I wanted to start off just by giving some background around the West Vancouver Art Museum. I'm not sure how well informed everybody is about our activities and our mission, but the West Vancouver Art Museum seeks to provide engagement with a range of forms of contemporary and historical art, architecture and design, more than just a static collection. We really are a dynamic institution celebrating local, national, and international artists and designers and architects with exhibitions, tours, events, lectures, receptions, and publications. West Vancouver is also the birthplace of West Coast modern architecture, and we celebrate this with exhibitions, oversubscribed programming for children's education and architecture like West Coast Modern Week, which is coming very soon. We are also nationally recognized for our leadership in preserving and building appreciation for West Coast modernism. And the Boathouse provides an opportunity to continue to expand this community asset by growing our programming. So today, the Art Museum is operating beyond full capacity. We have a need for additional space that is in better repair and is accessible. Just for reference, Gertrude Lawson is 2,800 square feet, our current home, and the 2019 Arts and Culture and Facilities Plan identified the need for approximately 11,000 square feet to meet the West Vancouver Art Museum's programming needs. So the Boathouse is 8,800 square feet. It would offer space for exhibitions, educational programming, a bookshop, a design library, events, and those could be housed both indoors and could spill outdoors to adjacent spaces. And being the sole tenant at the boathouse would ensure that the West Van Art Museum can preserve and expand our demonstrated excellence as a curatorial museum in art and architecture. So as everyone knows, the boathouse is set on the shores of Horseshoe Bay, and renovating and relocating the art museum to this building would also provide an opportunity to continue the art museum's dialogue with the Squamish Nation around engaging with the cultural history of the area. So when we think about what success could be for the art museum at the boathouse for the interim, these are sort of the points that are critical to the art museum. It would need to be the sole tenant of the boathouse to ensure that the building can serve the programming needs and functional requirements of a professionally curated museum. The boathouse building would need to be renovated to accommodate art museum exhibitions and programs with appropriate lighting, heating, ventilation, and air conditioning systems to control temperature and humidity, and to also secure the building from water and tidal fluctuations. Accessible exhibition and program spaces would need to be functional and located within the building to draw in a wide range of community members and visitors and to enhance the visibility of the arts. The boathouse would need to support the art museum's needs for the foreseeable future until a new purpose-built arts and culture center is built. And it is recognized as well that the district would continue to seek to build a purpose-built arts and culture center in the Ambleside area. I will just acknowledge that there are some challenges and unknowns around a move to the boathouse. Obviously, it's located 15 minutes from central Ambleside. Things like seasonal weather and daylight hours could impact attendance. It is located over water, and so the ability to control humidity and flooding is unknown right now. And the financial feasibility has not yet been determined. I wanted to show some very preliminary space plans that had been put together. And I'll draw your attention to a few things. This is our first floor space plan. And what I would want to highlight here is the prominence of the gallery exhibition space and that it is set back in the building away from natural light. Arts programming rooms and public event space would be next to the windows, hopefully drawing the community into the building and being available for events outside of just exhibitions. There's also a catering kitchen on one side, which would be there to support events and collaborations with local Horseshoe Bay businesses. This is a preliminary plan for the upper floor. Again, you can see here we have a prominent gallery space. This would be somewhere that the permanent collection pieces could be featured. This is a really important district asset that we don't get to give enough profile to. And so this would be a wonderful space to be able to highlight those elements. And then we still have space here as well for a bookstore, library seating, and a design showcase space. So I'm going to pass back to Scott, I think, to wrap up our walkthrough, but I did want to just conclude my part of the presentation by saying thank you to Council and the Mayor for the opportunity to present tonight to you on behalf of the West Vancouver Art Museum and for your efforts towards supporting the arts in West Vancouver.
Thanks very much. Thank you. Thanks, Mr. Swan, back to you.
Thank you. This is the recommendation that's coming forward, that the June 3rd, 2025 report from the Culture Services Manager titled Boathouse Update from the Arts and Culture Advisory Committee be received for information. 2, that staff move forward with planning to relocate the West Vancouver Art Museum to the Boathouse building on an interim basis, with the provisions endorsed by the Arts and Culture Advisory Committee as listed below. A, the West Vancouver Art Museum is the sole tenant of the Boathouse building to ensure that the building can serve the programming needs and functional requirements of a professional curated museum. B, the Boathouse building is renovated to accommodate museum exhibitions and programs with appropriate lighting, heating, ventilation, and air conditioning systems to control temperature and humidity, and to secure the building from water and tidal fluctuation to ensure the safety of fine art displayed in the building. C, accessible exhibition and program spaces are functional and located within the building to draw a wide range of community members and visitors and enhance the visibility of the arts. The Boathouse building, D, the Boathouse building will support the West Vancouver Art Museum's needs for the foreseeable future until a new purpose-built arts and culture center is built. And E, it is recognized that the District of West Vancouver continues to seek to build a purpose-built arts and culture center in the Ambleside area. And the third article, that staff progress to the next phase of planning by posting an expression of interest to determine if there are interested parties for partnership or naming rights for the boathouse building renovation. Now, just to be clear, if these criteria can't be met and the boathouse can't be made to work for the art museum, that's okay. It's a tremendous opportunity for a substantial increase in space and programming for the Arts Museum, but the requirements of they being the sole tenant is crucial for the AMAP. They are okay to be able to stay at the museum where they are at the moment until we build a purpose-built art center in Ambleside. This building has to work for the museum. And I should have worn my hockey jersey today, but I'm fascinated to see the wonderful place for sport that's been built, the possibility of a multi-sheeted ice rink to be built. And from my point of view, it's time for a place for art in the community.
Thank you, Mr. Swan. So I know that Councillor Watt is going to propose a motion that I think addresses all of those points and starts with the desire the community has to find a purpose-built location in Ambleside, and then moves to the next step, which is going out to naming rights, because we need to make sure before we decide anything, how much money somebody might be willing to donate. So I'll turn it over to Councillor Watt, who I think will make a very fine presentation of that.
Yeah, could we put it up on the screen? First, I just want to start by thanking you. Well, I'll read this first. No, I'm going to speak first. Thank you for all the work that you've put into it. And as you've seen in many of the art committee meetings, of which I'm one of the two liaisons, for those who don't know, I have, although this was initially my idea to purchase this building and to use it as a home for the art museum, as time has gone by and I've seen how extensive and expensive this interim proposition would be, I've developed a lot of grave reservations about continuing to put the 8,800 square feet entirely toward that. And I know for your purposes, you need the building in its entirety. And I fully understand and respect the need for an art facility that, you know, suits the needs of the community. And my fear in going forward with this is that we are going to lose the focus to get to what you really want. So I've got a lot more I could say, but I'll just leave it at that. And I have an alternate proposal. So that I'll read from here. Yeah, the June 12th, 2025 report from the Cultural Services Manager titled Boathouse Update from the Arts and Culture Advisory Committee be received for information. That staff continue to look for an appropriate and centralized location in Ambleside for a purpose-built arts and cultural center. That $50,000 from the Community Amenity Contribution Fund be used to begin an interior cleanup of the boathouse and make the exterior space available for community pop-up event use as soon as possible. That district staff post an expression of interest seeking interested parties for partnership and naming rights for a boathouse building renovation that will reflect West Vancouver's strong commitment to the arts and culture while ensuring that there are mixed uses that will entice a broad range of users, and that staff continue to work with council to determine the best uses for the boathouse on a long-term basis. And in addition to that, I had, I don't know if you're able to put up on the screen some of the rationale behind that and the purpose. Yeah. So I can read that out, or people can read that.
Well, I think you've got a motion, so I need to ask
Yeah,
if there's a seconder, Councillor Thompson.
Yeah, thank you. I'd like to second that, on the notion that I'm much aligned with the way Councillor Watt is thinking. I'd like to commend Kirsten on behalf of AMAP for the very professional presentation you gave. On top of that, really sticking to what your mandate was. I know you got a little pressure to go outside the box. How much is it going to cost and some analysis, but you really stuck to what you were asked to do. And it's tremendous. But, I believe we've heard from the community for this great desire to have a centralized museum. And like Councillor Watt said, to pursue and spend a fair amount of money for an unknown amount of time starts to feel a bit uncomfortable. I also hear from the community that we're looking for a more multi-use dynamic grassroots type facility in Horseshoe Bay. And the component of a $50,000 upgrade is just to get it to a point where we can actually go into the building and function in it, to occupy it. Because there's going to be some tremendous opportunity for things like pop-ups or little events that don't need the full facility there, because it is going to take us a while to figure out what to do with this. So the other thing actually I did want to squash, since Mr. Swan mentioned it, I think the notion was floated out there that the arts community needs to rise with force tonight because the ice arena people were coming and there were going to be competition. And I want to reassure you, they are not the competition. Each opportunity we're talking about is unto itself, has to do with a whole different set of factors. And please don't consider it's arts against the sports in any way. I'm happy to see the ice arena people coming forth, looking for their opportunities. We've got a council that's pretty committed to seeing what we can do as a communities come up in the arts. So thank you so much for your work.
Thank you. Councillor Watt.
Yeah. I also wanted to add that, it was certainly my intent in drafting this alternate motion that we are expanding on the space that is available to the arts, but also while drawing on the 6 million people a year that come through BC Ferries. And we are going to lose 2 restaurants as Bay Street is redeveloped. And there's going to be a need to have somewhere else to draw people to. And, it had been my hope, and I certainly understand why you couldn't accommodate, but to have something in there where you can get a beverage and a bite to eat, because it is going to be essential for the local community and the visitors, and where we can work a little more loosely with some people that aren't necessarily represented within the formal arts community. And I spent a couple of days up at Whistler over the weekend, and having gone through the cultural center and also the O'Dane and looking at the gallery space, sorry, not the gallery space, but the vendor space. And just, there's a lot of ideas floating amongst the community. And I do feel that we will come to a solution organically, but also that at the very least, in cleaning up the building and making it viable, that over the course of the summer, it's my hope that we can find a way to put together, either with other organizations or through our own very stretched, thin staff, the ability to have music, art on the pier and in various ways, even while the building is uninhabitable. So it's not a slam against your greater vision. I feel this might be a way to expand on some of what you already need.
Thank you. Councillor Gambill.
I just have a few comments about the motion, but I think there's probably, are there any speakers lined up? Like, should I make comments later, or I don't actually have questions?
Through the mayor to Councillor Gambioli, we have a number of speakers, I believe 7 or 8 names or 9 or so.
Okay. All right. Well, let's hear from those members of the public that have joined us this evening.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
The first name on the list is Connie Spears.
Thank you. Ms. Spears. Ms. Spears, thanks for joining us this evening.
Welcome. Segment here. Good evening to everyone. Thank you.
If you could just move the microphone down a little bit or speak into it, that would help.
Like Randy Newman said, we short people are a problem. Okay, I didn't print it large enough, so I have to put on my glasses. I'm hearing lots of good things tonight. We've had many, many years in Horseshoe Bay of meetings for starting with talking about the streetscape and the local area plan. The meetings talking about creating our sense of place. And that kind of got started, and for various reasons, including COVID, I'm sure. Somehow that seems to have been generally discontinued to a large degree. At this point, our organization can only gather, any organization or committees, even the business association, we have nowhere to gather in Horseshoe Bay. We have to use the back of a restaurant if they're kind enough to allow us to do that. Not always the best situation with the noise. And I think if what we would like to see, am I hiding? That's okay. Oh, okay. Okay.
If you'd like to, you can move off to the side a little bit.
Oh, it's okay. All right. Thank you. Yeah, that revamped the living room. Good to go. Okay. I just wanted to say that I had attended, I was watching the council agenda and realized that there was a meeting about what is being called the boathouse. I think, first of all, the name, we have now 2 boathouses in Horseshoe Bay. So I think that might be something that has to be considered in your naming process. Will probably take care of that. But at this point in time, what we would like is the arts people to be comfortable with what they are going to put in the building. But it's also would be really nice if we could share the facility somehow with local organizations. Even for us to have a meeting, we have to pay rent. We have to find a facility and pay rent. It's just difficult to operate with the business association meetings in the back of, Troll's Restaurant, which we appreciate. But yeah, it would be with such a large building, and I like the new motion because that means that we can actually maybe partake of some space in there. We can fit in between whatever other programs are operating, hopefully, and maybe share the space with the arts community. That would be great.
That's your time, Matt.
Ms. Spears, can you wind up, or how much more time do you need?
Okay, I'll take it down to the last one. Yeah, people seem concerned, the arts community, about having to drive to Horseshoe Bay, but really those of us who live in the Western region have to drive to everything. So we all know that. It's a long way, and a lot of things we don't attend because it's just like we have to drive somewhere, try to find parking, and then it's a bit of an issue. So our village center is very busy. At this point in time, the 6 million people on the ferry are not really coming in, and I don't know how badly the number of foot passengers have disappeared because they're taking the ferry from downtown now, the passenger only ferry to Nanaimo. And that hasn't made a difference, and the businesses are all mentioning that they have felt that. So if we could put something in there that causes those people to be drawn into town and entertain them, and, sell them a glass of something and make them happy and entertained, that would be wonderful.
Thanks very much, Ms. Spears.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks very much. And the next speaker is?
The next speaker is Karen Fowley, followed by Merla Beckerman.
Sorry, the next speaker is?
Karen Fowley.
Ms. Fowley, thank you for joining us this evening.
Thank you to Mayor.
Thank you.
All right. So I'm here to speak about the boathouse and about broadening the concept to include a live music performance place. Some of the people in the audience might not know that musicians are considered a cultural asset. We write songs about the community, and recently, for example, I went to the Cloverdale Rodeo. I was hired there, and I took our songs, the songs I'd written about Horseshoe Bay, and played them there. So over the last 20 years, I've worked in this community, mostly unpaid work on the music side of things. I'm also a bookkeeper. But we find the opportunities to play limited. We've worked with the K-Meek Center, we've worked with restaurants, but restaurants are struggling. We've done the best we can to bring people into their restaurant and strengthen their businesses. There's limited opportunities for us at the Silk Purse as well, which is more for the classical community. So let me speak briefly about busking. It speaks mostly to an amateur artist group. I don't know if you've realized, but over the last number of years, you've lost a lot of your established musicians because of the rising housing prices. So a busking opportunity, a lot of us have insurance. That's not something you need to worry about. We do have that. It costs us about $150 a year to have that liability insurance. And to obtain the licenses to have a busking opportunity, that's probably $20 to $100. So on a good day busking, you might make over a couple $100, which is great. But on a bad day, you might make $10 in quarters. So busking, the musicians, if I can say, in the community, we request your support in other ways, like paid engagements. And while there are amounts in the budget for light bulbs, perhaps there could be those amounts set aside as well. Lastly, with the boathouse, we're excited about it. Living in Horseshoe Bay and nearby, it's really a great thing to hear that there are opportunities and there's talk of public event spaces that being cleaned up in the summer. That's exciting. We ask that you consider expanding the notion to have it be a live music performance, especially with in the days of AI, there are still people in the community who do play live music and can help entertain. Having arts, the music with graphic art and the museum items is a great blend. For example, I'll just show you a little picture too, where I partnered with a fellow named Chris Adshead. We created Horseshoe Bay Then and Now about local history. And it's a great tie to bring the musicians into that opportunity. So I'm only one musician here today speaking for many. I know I've heard these comments over the last 20 years. And yeah, I thank you for your time and hearing me out.
Thank you very much, Ms. Valley. Thank you.
Thanks.
The next name on the list is Merla Beckerman, followed by Barbara Kaiser.
Ms. Beckerman, thank you for joining us this evening. Nice to see you. Good evening.
Thank you, Mayor and Council, for this opportunity to speak. My name is Merla Beckerman, and I've lived in West Vancouver for over 50 years. 38 years ago, I served on the Parks and Recreation Commission, along with Rod Day, Diana Hutchinson, Pat Bonham, and Frank Cruz. We were asked to make recommendations for the best use of the land at 14th and Bellevue, which had been formerly the bus terminal workshop. With community support and the backing of council, we laid the groundwork for what is now the Ferry Building Gallery, turning a vision into an asset, into a legacy for West Vancouver.
It seems like yesterday.
Right time, right place, which brings us today. Thanks to the fine work of the Art Museum Advisory Panel and the Arts and Culture Facility Advisory Group, and the work all done previously by the many, many groups that helped take this forward, we know Ambleside is the right place. And it is now time to turn the vision of the Arts Center into a reality. West Van has long been known for its creativity and the amount of artists, architects, designers, and patrons who make this their home. We can't wait any longer or we lose the next generation of young people who need arts education space. We need more exhibition and production space. We need multi-use space for lifelong learners, and we need space for art collectors who have been waiting to make the donations. We need a gathering space in the heart of the community. We have demonstrated the appetite and the need for an art center in Ambleside. It is time to move forward without any interim detours. There are better uses for the boathouse. With the groundswell of support now and political will, this can be the right time and the right place. And we are urging council to act now. We will all benefit. Thank you very much. And thank you to the councillors who have spoken to this already.
Thank you, Ms. Beckerman.
The next name on the list.
I think the motion speaks to what you've just said well. Thank you. The next speaker.
Barbara Kaiser, followed by Pierre Coupy.
Ms. Kaiser.
actually will not even say anything because I cannot possibly say anything better than what Myrna stated.
Oh, my gosh.
Thank you. How's she been?
Ms. Beckerman, enjoy the moment. She does speak well and always has.
Pierre Coupy, followed by Elaine McHarg.
Thank you. Mr. Coupe?
Thank you, Mayor and Council, and I will echo Barbara Connor's sentiments.
Oh, my gosh.
Laura has spoken so well for us. And I think that you're all on the right page, and I think you all have your heart's in the right place, and you have a vision for not only hockey, speaking as an ex-hockey player who played against Doug Harvey once
Oh, my.
in Montreal and lost badly. And as an artist who has lived in West Vancouver for over 35 years, you know very well how much I feel powerfully that we need a new art center in Ambleside, in the heart of the community. And I know that we're going to get there. Thank you so much.
We appreciate your confidence. Thank you.
Elaine McHarg, followed by
Ms. McHarg.
Sharon Habib.
Ms. McHarg, thank you for joining us this evening.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to say a few words, but I will tell you that I've scratched out about half of my comments. So so good evening, Mayor and councillors and hardworking staff. My name is Elaine McHarg. My family and I reside in West Vancouver and have been here as of July 1st for 30 years. And I'm coming to council to comment on the use of the boathouse for an arts programming. I do understand a replacement or an interim home for the art museum. What I'm understanding from this proposal, though, is the fact that we have stepped away from what was actually cited as the proposal, and we have a new one on the table. So,
Well, I think the motion is the council has heard loud and clear that we want to find a purpose-built center in Ambleside. And that's why that item was put at the top of the motion.
great. So as long as I've lived here, there have been earnest, thoughtful, passionate, informed discussions regarding a home for the various arts programs in West Vancouver. And I truly believe that the museum needs and deserves appropriate solution for the space and growth that they're facing now. In the response has been many working groups, committees, study groups, and advisory boards established to guide the various councils over the years. And as Merla has said, really decades. A constant is the need for a purpose-built facility in the Ambleside area. The reason for this is it's our responsibility to profile the arts and the talent and the culture in this community, appropriately provide services, and to make it convenient for those who wish to attend, participate, learn, and simply have joy to ensure it can in West Vancouver, and plus to ensure it can generate some form of revenue. The most recent group examined this with the support of professional consultants and experts with the Arts Facility Advisory Committee, and they came forward with a host of recommendations that I'm sure you've all read. So jumping forward all of my other paragraphs, I am delighted to hear that there is alternate considerations for the boathouse. I agree that it's a beautiful location, and I understand the desire for council to expand the profile of Horseshoe Bay in an appropriate manner. I will say that I do hope that there is consideration as you move forward with this proposal on the multi-use space. I agree with Ms. Valley's comments about live music venues, animation, all of that. And as an aside, my brother is actually the art director for the Fuji Rock Festival. And so I live with a lot of those types of stories over the past 30 years that he's been doing that. I would encourage the idea of art shop, kind of gathering space, I think was a really great term that was used in this description. And so wholeheartedly support that, along with the idea of the fact that we must move on a purpose-built facility. The pressures that the museum are feeling will only continue to grow. We will end up with people not feeling that they have a place to kind of celebrate the arts in the community.
That's time.
And so I encourage you to move in that direction. Thank you.
Thanks very much. And the next speaker.
The last two names on the list are Sharon Habib and Pat Bowles.
Thank you, Ms. Habib.
So
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for listening. You've heard us loud and clear, and you've responded, and I really do want to thank you. I think everything that I could say about the boathouse as a venue for the museum is already in your inboxes more than once from me. So I apologize for that. And I really thank you for your thoughtful replies back to me. But I do feel heard, and I want to thank you for that.
And please don't ever apologize for giving us input. We are always grateful.
Well, thank you. So just to say, and I'm just really speaking off the cuff, I'm delighted that we're all on the same page, that the Boathouse is a wonderful venue to have in West Vancouver to meet a lot of the other needs that are not spoken for. And I have to apologize to the music community that I've never ever thought of mentioning them and their needs. I've always sort of thought of the visual arts, but yes, it would be wonderful to have a venue for live music, perhaps over a bite to eat would be just fabulous. And one last thing I wanted to say was when I looked at the AMAP's plans for potential layout for if the museum were to go there, I thought, what a waste of a view, because it's a gorgeous view, but an art museum has different lighting requirements, and that light would just be a killer. So it would be great for the building to be used to its best advantage for the rest of the community as well. Thank you very much for listening.
Thanks very much for joining us. Thank you.
Pat Bowles is the last name on the list for this
Thank
item.
you. Ms. Bowles, thanks for joining us this evening.
Well, the first thing I really want to do is thank Councillor Watt, who listened. She had a great idea. She was enthusiastic for her community. We all jumped out of the box and said, whoops, we weren't that comfortable with the way it was going to be used. But the good thing that's coming out is going to be something wonderful happen in Horseshoe Bay.
You're here.
So the second thing, and I will support it 100%. The second thing I want to sort of joke about, but a little bit, Merla Beckerman referred to 38 years ago. Well, as a matter of fact, this community has been trying to build an arts center since 1948, when there was a plebiscite in this community to decide whether we had a library, a war memorial, or a civic center that included an arts center. And that is because I was born in 1948, 77 years ago. So it's time, folks. The museum has run out of space. The Silk Purse needs to be rebuilt. We have a wonderful, wonderful art history in this West Vancouver that I discovered. And, you know, unlike everybody else, I've only been here for 10 years, but I've soaked up the arts here, the music, the performing arts, the visual arts. Won't it be terrific when we get an all-purpose, beautiful building in Ambleside, and we can all wander down and visit, take our children, our grandchildren there. And I'm going to work like hell to make it happen. Thank you.
We appreciate the effort. Thank you. I just have to share with you, and I hope you don't mind, a little bit of family history. As some of you may know, my first bedroom in West Vancouver was in that little building at 2423 Marine Drive, the one that's got the Red Lion pub next to it. And my parents owned that building, and we had the furniture store there. And my father wanted to retire from the furniture business, and he wanted to open a little British pub. That was his dream. He applied to council, and his idea was that he would put the British pub in our old house, and the original building, which was built in, I think, 1919, that looks like the barn, he was going to donate that to the municipality for an arts center. But the council turned him down, and my father was so furious, he moved away. And so seeing this kind of a facility in the community has an extra special meaning for some of us. And how ironic, it might not be a pub, but it sure looks like a pub is in there now, doesn't it? Sorry, I just had to share that. And now I'm going to turn it over to Councillor Snyder.
Great. So just a couple of comments. First off, I have to say I fully support all of the comments that were brought forward by those that came up and spoke. And so I appreciate you coming forward, as well as all of the emails that we've received. I'd also like to thank ACAC for the presentation and all of the work and time that you put into being able to provide that. I think that's very valuable. I think that the community has spoken quite loudly that we really do need to start looking at a purpose-built facility in the Ambleside area. And I know that we've discussed it on council many times, and there are some ideas. There definitely we need to take some action moving forward. So I would agree with that. But I do also want to thank all of those who not only took the time to come out tonight, but those that took the time just to send us the emails and provide us the input, which sort of led to, I think, Councillor Watt's amendments to the proposal, which I think you're going to see are obviously quite well supported in the room. So I just wanted to make those acknowledgements. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Snyder. Councillor Watt.
I also wanted to thank Councillor Thompson because she's been very busy in the background as well, coming up with ideas, meeting with stakeholders. And, she has been an incredible support on this. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Gambiola.
So I too will thank the Art Museum Advisory Panel volunteers, because in fact they've done everything we've asked them to do, and they've actually done it very quickly. So I think the conclusion that they came to was pretty clear from their point of view, and we're just sort of juggling the idea of increasing operating expenses and the extra costs. So it's looking less and less appealing from that point of view. And I guess, we bought the building, and then we made a decision and made an announcement that it would be an art museum, but that was, obviously premature and didn't involve much consultation, if any. And so really what we're doing is we're now trying to figure out what to do with this building we bought. And my personal feeling is that we should be looking at some sort of uses that will generate some revenue. And, we don't have the funds to throw around this type of money here and there. So two things, I have some suggestions for clarifications for these motions. This is going to be the boring part, sorry. But I also first wanted to ask staff about their thoughts about this motion, because this has been just presented to staff as well. So is there any room for clarification that staff need? First is my first question.
Ms. Kettler.
Thank you. Staff have reviewed it, and it is, we don't need any more clarification. Thank you.
You don't? Okay. So the things that I was looking at then in terms of the motion is that the second part of the motion says that staff will look for, I don't have it here anymore in front of me, but staff will, maybe we can put it back up. It said staff will look for an appropriate and centralized location. So I think that continue to look for an appropriate and centralized location. I think there's a little bit missing there, because I think that the part of the stalling of this concept for, I'm going to say, the last 3.5 years is really a political decision. So I think that we should add that staff and council continue to plan for and support an appropriate and centralized location in Ambleside. I think it's important.
The friendly amendment. I think that's a very wise amendment, and we'll take that as a friendly amendment.
Did staff get that? I'll read that again. Staff and council continue to plan for and support an appropriate and centralized location. Okay. And then the other part that I am unclear about is part 4. So this seems to me a little bit backwards. So, and I'm a little bit confused by the motion myself. So it says that, first of all, well, sorry, part 3 says we want to use $50,000 to begin interior cleanup, but we don't actually know what we're doing in the interior yet. So I would think it would make more sense to say that staff post expressions of interest for the building for, number 1, uses that will entice a broad range of users and generate revenue. That's my generating revenue part. So that's the first thing we need to do, is figure out what we're going to use it for. And then secondly, we look to financial and naming rights and partnerships for the building renovations. So it just seems a little bit backwards. We're trying to scramble to do something to, I don't know, host some barbecues outdoors and spend $50,000, which, you know, is a good chunk of money. So anyway, that part just concerns me. Does staff have any feedback, or does anybody else have feedback on those
I
thoughts?
think Councillor Gambioli, the thought, and we'll let Councillor Watt answer, but the idea was to open the building up so that those who may be interested in naming rights would get a better vision of what the building actually could look like. Right now, it's chopped up into a lot of little spaces.
Sure, but my thought is that, you know, if it's not going to be the art museum, then who is going to come in there and put naming rights on something we don't know what it's going to be used for? So that seems a little bit backwards to me. Like, the community, we should be deciding first what it could be used for, and then we invite expressions of interest for funding. That makes a little more sense to me.
Councillor Watt.
That I agree with you 100% that we need to focus on finding uses that will come through that building that generate revenues. And that's why I focus on the, you know, the access to 6 million potential people coming through, in addition to the traffic we get going up and down the Sea to Sky and the local and greater West Vancouver people. But with respects to the idea of cleaning it up, I agree with Mayor Sager. By doing that, it will further enable people to come in and take a look, and it will allow us to use the building in the interim, because this isn't going to be a quick overnight decision. And so to be able to do, as Ms. Fowley pointed out, music, art pop-ups, I feel that while we're going out for expressions of interest, at the very least, we could have some kind of community access to the building, even if it's just with folding tables and chairs. I don't know.
And so what's staff's response, or do they have any concerns with, you know, this is going to cost more than $50,000 of staff time to be managing all this and dealing with the summer programming and tents and, you know, I don't know. Do we have staff to be able to do this?
So I think through the mayor, for this summer, I think what we would be looking for would be community groups, perhaps wanting to do something outside, because staff don't have much capacity. I mean, some are starting and the event staff are right in the thick of it. So I think it would be really utilizing the outdoor space and looking for community groups to see what they might like to do. Staff could assist, but it would not be led by staff. And I do think there should be some clarification about, you know, the $50,000 will begin to clean up, but it will not make it habitable for groups to come in. And Mr. Wong is here and can speak to that detail.
Thank you. I think the idea is just to open the space up. Right now, there's walls on the main floor. You can't see across it. And it might not even be close to $50,000. It's just so that people can go in. Anybody who's interested in naming rights, they can get a better idea of what the space can feel like. I think that was the idea. Councillor Cassidy.
Thank you. Well, first of all, I'm very glad this motion has come forward. I have to be very honest with you. I was not at a gut level in favor of this. I I didn't really see that an arts facility out in Horseshoe Bay was going to attract the type of traffic, and I mean that by way of foot or car, that it would need to make this a remotely financially feasible entity. You know, I grew up in West Van. My very first job was in Horseshoe Bay at a place that's now torn down called Thorns. And Thorns in its day was a little sort of hotel, cafe, restaurant, which attracted people by ferry from Vancouver. And they came over for the weekend to dance and stay in the hotel and have a good time. And anyway, that time passes and Thorns is gone. And in my childhood, Horseshoe Bay was a very, very animated community. We had schools, we had the Sun Salmon Derby, we had the Nanaimo to Horseshoe Bay boat races. I mean, it was a happening place. It wasn't the sort of place you'd go and sit and look at an art gallery, quite frankly. You were there to have fun. And as I see that things are moving forward with Horseshoe Bay, a new hotel, and soon going to be new condo units there, and it just really, it's moving forward. I would like to see that energy come back into the community. And not that the people themselves don't have the energy, but it's lovely to be able to express that somewhere. I'm glad, although I do had my hesitancies, to be honest, that this has been a dead space on the waterfront. And as we pursue many expressions of interest, I hope that those that come forward are both perhaps from the arts community. I mean, people don't talk about acting classes and dancing classes, for example, but also educational opportunities within the building. There may be 6 million people going on that ferry, but all those 6 million people are not coming into Horseshoe Bay. They're getting into their car, driving on and driving off. So a reason to really come in and enjoy that community. So I'm very happy that this motion has been made and we've gone away from the concept of an arts museum. I am fully supportive of one in the center of West Vancouver. It's very hard for a museum, as I said, to be financially supporting itself, but definitely you need to be in the heart of where the majority of the population are. We're moving forward with the Ambleside local area plan and revitalizing our village, and hopefully a new art museum will add to that equation. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Cassidy. Councillor Thompson, and then I'm going to call the question.
Thank you. Yeah, I just want to make a couple more remarks with what's been discussed around in the upgrading of the building. And, clearly we're going to have to discuss this a little further, but the reality is it's going to take us a while to determine not only what's going to go into the place, but how it's going to be managed. And I think we've had a discussion around whether we remove the burden of management from staff and bring in someone more like a curator who manages the programs that go in and out of the building. A few months ago, a number of people in the audience tonight, members of the arts community and quite a few members of council, managed a day of touring art facilities in Vancouver. And if you haven't had the chance to visit the Beaumont Gallery, you'd want to call it shabby chic, but there really isn't a chic component to it. But it is so vibrant with arts, and they've got these tiny little rooms with little windows that people rent for studio spaces, $1,000 a month. They actually have a recording studio. When you talk about music, not only can you have space where people can perform their music, but people can record it. And it's just the most dynamic facility. I'd encourage you to go down on a Saturday to see what it's all like. So, my feeling was if we can bring this building up to speed soon, and according to Sewell's, who had the building before us, there's all new electrical run into the building. It is plumbed. I don't know if it's by today's standards, but if there's a number of extraordinary artists out there who would love to come into the space and just do a pop-up of their work with a few, their work against the walls, maybe for a week, maybe for a month. And I don't know if any of you read in the Biosphere, but Ruth Simon wrote was expressing interest in how it could be integrated. And she described this beautiful day in West Vancouver, where you start up in the Cypress Mountain and you make your way down to the ocean front. And she creates a story where you just start imagining yourself spending a day in West Vancouver instead of heading over the bridge and all those places we go to have a special day. So, you know, I hope in the short run, we can get up, short term, we can get up and running with something cool and funky, and then really work towards a space that builds a destination and a foundation in our community for people wanting studio space, event space, performance space.
Thank you. Councillor Gambiola.
Okay, my last comment is just at the very end of this motion, it ends with the word "and." So we're not missing anything, are we? Okay, so that's the "and." We're still using that number 5 for long-term uses. Okay, that's okay. All right. And my last comment is I would, in an ideal world, after a broad range of users at the end of number 4, add the words and generate revenue.
That's a friendly amendment. Thank you. Thank you for all that discussion, and thanks for everyone who's come this evening and for your input throughout this whole process. I do feel at the end of the day, good things are going to happen for the arts in our community. So I'm going to call the question. All those in favor? Contrary, the motion is carried unanimously. Thank you. We'll go now. Thank you, everyone. We'll go to item number 8, proposed development application for 3861 and 3875, the Uplands, and I believe, and sorry, 3389 and 3181 Chippendale Road. I believe we have a presentation. And I think perhaps, Mr. Bailey, are you leading this off?
Mr. Mayor, Mr. James Allen will present. Ms. McGuire will also be at the podium with him. So
thank you. We'll just give it a moment. Mr. Allen is. Good night, Ms. Spears. Thank you, Mr. Allen, Ms. McGuire. Thank you for being here this evening.
All right, good evening, Mayor and Council. Tonight we're looking at the Uplands proposal for Area 6 from BD Living. So I'll give some context to the application. The subject properties are located within Area 6 of the Rogers Creek neighborhood, which is the area being bounded by Chippendale Road and Uplands Way north of Cypress Bowl Road. The subject parcels are shown here in red. Lot 1 and Lot 9 being 3181 and 3389 Chippendale Road, and lots 12 and 13 being 3875 and 3861 Uplands Way. The district-owned Lot 11 is shown shaded in green, and that's at 3939 Uplands Way. Other parcels in the area, for context, lots 10 and 14 you see there are designated for cluster housing. Lots 2 and 4 have been built out as cluster housing sites. Lot 3 is currently under construction as a multi-family site for 76 units. And lots A to J, there are detached single family houses that have been completed. So the proposal that we're looking at tonight, BD Living has submitted a development application to amend the zoning for Lot 12 to allow for strata housing instead of the rental housing as required by the CD3 zone. They've applied to transfer 102,000 square feet of floor area, which is allocated to the district-owned Lot 11, from Lot 11 to their owned parcels at lots 1, 9, 12, and 13. The 4 proposed buildings are to contain a total of 324 units. So as a result of transferring that floor area, The proposed height of the buildings are to exceed what is required in the zone, with lot 1 and lot 13 being 20 stories, lot 9 being 25 stories, with the permitted maximum number of stories in the zone being 16 stories. If the proposal moves forward, it will also require modification of covenants, which are registered on the title of the 5 parcels to allow for the floor area redistribution. And it also requires an amendment to the Rogers Creek Phase Development Agreement to remove the requirement under that agreement to construct a rental building on lot 12. This table shows the proposed redistribution of that 102 square feet of floor area from lot 11. Lot 1 receives approximately 11,000 square feet, lot 9 62,000 square feet, lot 12 about 9,000 square feet, and lot 13 about 19,000 square feet. BD are not proposing to obtain any of the allocated dwelling units for lot 11, so they remain. The units are proposed are within the allocated total number of units for those 4 parcels. If the application moves forward, a community amenity contribution of approximately 13.2 million would be payable by the applicant, and at the time of building permit issuance, DCCs of approximately 1.1 million. If the application proceeds, the applicant would also look to finalize their development permit drawing packages with revisions that would respond to the planning committee motions that would host a proposed information meeting and then bring the applications forward back to council for consideration. Staff are recommending that the application outlines move forward with the required bylaw amendments, development permits, and other administrative steps that are required be brought back to council for consideration at a future date.
Thanks very much. Any questions from members of council? I know members of council are fairly familiar with this, having had all the material presented and a chance to read it all. Councillor Gambio.
Well, just like to hear staff's, planning's point of view, because, on the face of this, it looks like we're taking a district-owned building that would be fully rental units and making it disappear and turning them into strata, very high-end luxury strata units. So that doesn't sound very good on the face of it. So I'd like our staff to recommend why they're recommending this.
Through the mayor, I think that at a very high level, West Vancouver needs a lot of housing, whether it's strata housing, whether it's rental housing. I think in other places, rental housing is better where it's located, in the short term, close to amenities, places like Ambleside. I think that we think that the rental market in this area, in Rogers Creek Area 6, is likely challenged, and we would not necessarily see something built in the short term. So we would like to see in this location, we think that strata is an appropriate form of development. That's not to say that rental shouldn't occur in other places. So we have, I think 484 secured rental units in Cypress Village. The local area plan, Mr. Hawkins is here. You can speak to the details of it, but there's a significant effort to put rental housing in Ambleside. So I think across the broad spectrum, we're looking for a diversity of housing and feel that sort of given this context, that the application should proceed to the next phase, should get comments from the public, and we're comfortable moving it forward.
Thank you, Mr. Bailey.
And sorry, second question.
Thank you.
So the number, just the approximate number at the moment, as you say, is CACs of almost 13.3 million. Then can we, in the past, we have used CACs for an affordable housing fund. No, I shouldn't say we've used them. We put them into an affordable housing fund, and that was coming up on 10 years ago, and we haven't used the money. So we could do something similar with this money, but then the question is, how do we use it?
Certainly, council's discretion through the mayor to Councillor Gambioli council could make a decision. You had to allocate a portion of the CAC to an affordable housing fund. That's within your discretion. You have an existing CAC policy that talks about the distribution of CAC funds to broad district-wide processes, also to some local initiatives. But council could certainly do that. And as a part of a separate process, council could also direct staff to look at allocating money in the affordable housing funds to any project in West Vancouver where you wanted to look at achieving higher levels of affordability, whether that's a project that comes forward from a developer through, for example, the Ambleside Local Area Plan. For example, your own district-owned lands just over on the corner here, you could certainly direct us to do that. So we would look to council to direct spending of that fund as appropriate and as you saw fit.
Okay, well, when if it goes forward, I would like to get some of staff's suggestions around, how exactly, if we were to put some more money away, or even our current money that we have, how we can spend it, please. It's better to be spent on affordable housing than to sit in the bank. So, we're essentially trading these rental units for that amount of money. So I'd like to keep it tied. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Gambiel. I think there's real support for that idea. Councillor Watt.
Yeah, I had other questions, but I just wanted to go back to Councillor Gambioli's suggestion. And, the understanding that I've always had is that community amenity contributions, that the typical purpose is to enhance the community that is being impacted by the new people, not taking those funds to add even more people without taking the funds back into infrastructure, parks, community center, and other necessary things. But anyway, that's just one thought that I've had. But I just wanted clarification. So I understand the planning committee had a few issues and now some tweaks are being made that are in line with it. So I understand that the color is no longer going to be bright. It'll blend better into the landscape, and the upper levels will be more tiered. Were there any other concerns with the planning committee, or does that pretty much sum it up?
Yeah, go ahead. Oh, sorry. So the motion from the planning committee was to look at a revised design for both lot 9 as well as, so for lot 9 in particular was the massing and heights to fit within the context. For lot 12 and 13, it was contextual fit and a bit more about the color palette and materiality. So those were the motions from the committee.
I believe the architect might address those questions in a moment.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Cassidy, please.
Okay, so as I understand it, so we're going to take the density from lot 11 and give it to these other 3 sites. All right, but at any point in time in the future, we could, as a council of the future, put that density right back there on lot 11, could we not?
Yes, through the worship, that is correct. It would require a zoning amendment as well as an OCP amendment to put back that floor.
All right. Yeah. All right. Thank you. So technically speaking, in my mind, it's a moot point. All right. But what really sticks in my mind is that I don't think this is an equitable financial arrangement, because we're going to get, in essence, $14 odd million. All right, 13 and change in CACs and 1 million and change in DCCs. And yet lot 9 is going to go from 66 units to 93 units. Okay, that's 93 versus 66. Is that correct? I wrote that down.
That's correct.
Okay, I'm just going with lot 9. I mean, there's others with the other various ones as well. Now, at 25 stories, these apartments are going to have a singularly magnificent view. And I'm assuming that they're going to be going for well over $1 million, well over, probably $4, $5, $6, $7 million, given that the Cressy down there at 23rd Marine Drive went in excess of $4 million. So my point is, I don't think that we're getting enough money from this developer, given what we're going to be giving the developer. And all 3 sites, I don't think we're getting enough money. I think we are And I know I'm not expecting you to answer this question because it rather puts you on the hook, but I'm just telling you my point of view. We are giving them a lot and not getting enough back financially. 9 floors. How many apartments per floor, please?
Maybe we could ask the architect that, but I think the fundamental question, Mr. Allen, is in negotiating the CAC contribution. I trust you went out for appraisals and we had some expert advice on the valuation of this.
Yeah, through the mayor, when we do a CAC review and a CAC analysis, we look at, you know, a number of variables and impacts. So certainly the revenues are one side of that coin, but costs are the other. And we'd be happy to sit down with council, probably in a closed session, and go through how that pro forma analysis works and provide some information on that.
Well, I would definitely appreciate that because my mathematical reading of the situation is us none, them a lot. Okay, they're going to make a small fortune off of this extra density on each of those apartments that they're putting up. And I want to see us, I know there's some pro forma or such the like, but maybe we go back and recalculate life because 13 odd million and 1 million in DCCs is nothing compared to what they're going to recoup on those apartments with that extra height.
Thank you.
And
Councillor
also,
Cassidy.
do we want Vancouver to be looking at 26 stories on our mountainside?
Thank you, Councillor
So just
Cassidy.
through the mayor, just to be clear about this, I mean, the DCCs are charged based on a bylaw, so those aren't negotiated. The community amenity contributions, again, are based on a pro forma analysis that takes into consideration not only revenues, which you have a good point, but also on the costs and everything that goes into that. So again, we're happy to provide a further briefing if you so
I think
need.
because that's a negotiation between parties, it should be in camera. And I think if you could bring that forward at some future time. Tonight, we're only sending this out for further consideration. And how many stories is the Stonecliff building? I believe it's 24 stories.
I think you're right. They're 24. Yeah, I think you're right.
24 stories. So,
And the buildings in Cypress Village are 25 stories.
thank you. Councillor Snyder.
Yes, thank you. So just before I make the motion.
No, we've got a further presentation. From the
Sorry, further
architect.
presentation.
Sorry, we're not ready. For
I'm
that yet.
assuming that the further presentation is going to demonstrate to everybody that the added density that's being provided is that it's actually not adding any further units. The number of units is not being changed or being proposed. It's just the size of the units being increased. So we're not talking about.
Let's let the applicant or the architect, if they're willing to, address this. Thank you. Mr. DeCiacos, nice to see you this evening.
We can speak to the questions. Just brief introduction as well. Good evening, Mayor Sager and members of council. My name is Nathaniel Stewart. I'm here tonight representing BD Living, alongside several other members of our project team. So the zoning amendment before you is obviously culmination of several years of work with staff and our industry partners and trying to find solutions to the housing issues we have right now in our region. So we've focused on finding a solution that we believe presents opportunities for building housing in an incredibly challenging market today. So I know we spoke to costs. Right now we're seeing costs right now be incredibly challenging to navigate. And on the mountainside, to answer that question, on the mountainside, we have experience of that right now. We've been building in partnership with BP and have very good insight in what it costs. So as you scale the building, you also have to blast down. So with density creates significant costs, especially subgrade, given the location on the mountainside and the obligation to provide parking for residents so they can communicate effectively or commute effectively. Thank you. So we believe this application showcases the potential of strategic partnerships between the private and public sector. Building housing in today's market requires exploring these types of creative opportunities, like the one presented in this amendment, which we believe is a win-win for all stakeholders. And most importantly, it benefits the community by providing quality, family-oriented homes in the Rogers Creek area. To answer the second question, yes, we are not increasing the total amount of units. We're actually growing the unit size and building more family-oriented units. So that's more two-bedroom and den, and three-bedroom units. And that's what we've heard, and given that we've been in the market up there for the last several years. So we're responding to that. So just obviously still want to thank a lot of the work that's been done by staff. It sounds like there will be some follow-up in terms of some additional information that will be provided, but they've been working incredibly collaboratively with us to advance this application. You know, we're here tonight to hear what your feedback is to move this to the next step, and you know, continue the collaborative efforts that we've had to date with our industry partners, including British Properties. With our goal to collaborate to really prioritize the environmental and architectural excellence of the projects up in this area. So to continue that forward. I will also just like to recognize our industry partners tonight, and including Chris Dikiakus, who's here with us with CDA, who were involved as the master plan architects, and I'll let him speak a little bit to the vision as well.
Thank you. Mr. Dikiakus, please.
Thank you, Mayor Sager, members of council. We're really pleased to be part of this development and have worked really hard with planning and BD to get to this point, and look forward to moving it forward. Just by way of background, we have a long relationship with BD, more than 15 years. We've done multiple projects with them, the largest of which is Station Square in Metrotown, almost 2 million square feet. Besides that, we've done multiple other projects totaling over 4 million square feet of development. So really proud to be continuing that relationship in Cyprus with them. Again, just by way of background, we've done multiple projects on the North Shore. One of the more prominent ones is the renovation of Lynn Valley Mall, which we did several years ago, among several others. The project that we're involved with specifically is lots 12 and 13. We've had some commentary from Planning Commission, which we've addressed in our current iteration of the plans. Some of the comments had to deal with sculpting the top of the building more, which we've done, making sure that it has a real West Coast flavor, to try to make it fit and be part of the mountainside, which we've also done. Materiality of the building, primarily stone, glass, and wood patterned metal panels, really try to emphasize the West Coast character of the building. In terms of sustainability, lots 12 and 13 will exceed the current policy by being built to step code 3 with a zero carbon energy system, including rooftop solar panels. So again, all the updates and revisions that we've done are consistent with the DRC and planning comments, and we're happy to answer any other questions that Mayor and Council might have.
Thanks very much. Councillor Snyder.
Sorry, thank you. I'd like to recommend that the bylaw amendments, development permits, and other administrative steps required for the proposed development application for 3861 and 3875 Upland Way and 3389 and 3181 Chippendale Road, as described in the report dated June 5th, 2025, from the Uplands Senior Development Planner, be brought forward for consideration at a future council meeting.
Thank you, Councillor Thompson.
Thank you. I'll second that. And with a few remarks, just based on the discussion and some meetings I've had with the developer. The things that I'm keeping in mind on this project is, you know, number one. Sorry?
Yeah, don't I will.
Okay, I'll make some comments first.
Having a motion on the floor.
Would you rather me make my
No,
comments after?
no,
Okay,
comments
okay.
after.
You know, it seems every time we have a project, CACs come into debate, and I'm always welcome to dig deeper into that. But at the end, we usually find our advisors under the very complex and critical analysis land somewhere. So I feel confident with that. You know, this in a time where you've got a number of really well-established developers, not only pulling out of projects or selling land. And, you know, somewhat like we were talking the arts community earlier, this is somewhat of an inspired project where you've got a group who are willing to come forward and commit to building some much needed housing that the province is hammering us on. Not to mention that we've just approved Cypress Village, and as exciting as that is, you know, what the community really is looking forward in en masse is that commercial component, to go up and have that new way of life up in the mountains of West Vancouver, a new way of living. And I think when you get a density built into that area, that will prompt the commercial area to go ahead. The other component, you know, there's this reference to building luxury and we don't need that, or strata, we don't need that, you know, time and place, right? And I think we're dealing with some very experienced, sophisticated developers who know what's in demand right now. And, you know, quite frankly, what I see a big exodus of are empty nesters, people who want to live older, larger, lotted, single family dwellings, and they just don't have the alternatives here. So what I love more than anything is seeing that we are creating larger, more livable quality of life units for people to stay, and then leaving their older homes to younger families to come in. And the other component that's really great, when I think of more livable living, we still haven't managed to get a hotel back here in West Vancouver. And the biggest complaint I hear of seniors where their families live elsewhere is they come into town, they stay for a couple hours on the way to Whistler because they can't house them in their little apartments that they've moved into. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the public has to say about it. I think this has a number of really exciting qualities that I'm looking forward to, and looking forward to our speaker.
Thank you, Councillor Thompson. I understand we have two people who wish to address council this evening. Gentlemen, thank you very much for being here. Thank you, Mr. Chu.
Diana Sunderhoff, and the second name on the list is Elaine McHarg.
Thank you.
Ms. Sunderhoff.
Thanks for your patience. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. I came here because I really appreciate what you were saying just now, because that's exactly my opinion too. I've been a resident of the British Properties for 60 years, since 1965. And I'm also on the board of the British Properties Homeowners Association. And so I've been following these projects quite carefully. And I'm really excited about Cypress Village. And I'm really excited that in this particular project that we're speaking about, that they're going to have these larger apartments, because really that is needed. These tiny apartments just are not what we're looking for right now. I've heard my friends saying, we're looking for an apartment where we can, a bigger apartment so we can bring our furniture along, you know, and so I came here because I am so in support of the fact that you have larger apartments, which will be good for families, which we absolutely need. It's really meeting a need. So, and also I agree that having more density close to the Cypress Village will be good for business, and will allow that particular plan to flourish. So that's really all I wanted to say, that I really appreciate what is happening, and I really like the concept of larger buildings.
Thanks so much. And
Thank
thanks
you.
for having your patience to stick with us.
It's been very interesting.
Well, it's been nice having you here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. McCarg.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I'm here just to support this initiative moving forward. I'm speaking in support of the Uplands Area 6 project by BD Living. I encourage council to advance the project to future council meetings, as it will create additional opportunities for public input, and to allow everyone to see how the design has evolved since the pre-application stage. I think one of the things that happens is people hear the numbers of floors and all of this, and it can sometimes become scary in these types of, kind of this level of transparency is important to building confidence in it. I do agree with the fact that whereby these are long-term plans and there takes that consideration. We can't lose sight of the need for rental housing and more affordable living in this community. It is appropriate to have downsizing that's for various different circumstances and fits various different people's choices in their life. But we do need to still remember the fact that we want to mix in the community just from a diversity of interests and just, richness in the community. I appreciate that this design stays true to the West Coast living approach. And I think that it's also going to be another example of, kind of sustainable development in West Vancouver, which is a great thing to be known for. So, in closing, I just do want to say that I think it's really fortunate the West Vancouver has partners in development such as BD Living. They have a proven track record across the Lower Mainland. They've been working in partnership with BPP and learning some of the, kind of ins and outs of West Vancouver and from that development side. And it's encouraging to see the experience and a trusted builder leading this final project. So my suggestion and encouragement is just to take it forward to the next stage.
Thanks
Thank you.
very much. Hearing no other speakers, and I'll call the question. All those in favor? Contrary? We will do the CACs, trust me. The motion is carried unanimously. Thanks very much. We'll move now to item number 9, please. Councillor Snyder.
I'd like to recommend that the proposed zoning bylaw number 4662, 2010 amendment bylaw number 5379, 2025 be adopted.
Thank you, Councillor Thompson.
Second.
Any discussion? Question? All in favor? Contrary? The motion is carried.
I'd like to recommend that the proposed development variance permit 23-055 for 2550 Queens Avenue be approved.
Thank you, Councillor Thompson. Call the question. All in favor? Contrary? Motion is carried. Thank you. Item number 10, the proposed building bylaw, Councillor Gambioli, please.
I will recommend that proposed building bylaw number 5340, 2025 be adopted.
Thank you, Councillor Watt. Seconded. Call the question. All those in favor? Contrary? Carried. Item number 11, zoning bylaw 4662, Councillor Cassidy, please.
Recommend that proposed zoning bylaw number 4662, 2010, amendment bylaw number 5254, 2023 be adopted.
Thank you, Councillor Gambioli. Thank you. Any discussion? Question? All in favor? Contrary? The motion is carried. The consent agenda items, Councillor Watt, please.
I'd like to recommend that the consent agenda items as followed, as written, be approved.
Thank you, Councillor Snyder. Call a question. All in favor? Contrary? Carried. Thanks very much. We'll move to item 14, Councillor Snyder.
Thank you. Yes, I'd like to recommend that the appointment of Councillor Watt as the council representative to the Ambleside Dundarave Business Improvement Association be rescinded, and Councillor Gambioli be appointed as the council representative to the Ambleside Dundarave Business Improvement Association for a term ending December 31, 2025.
Thank you, Councillor Thompson.
I'll second that.
Thank you. This was all by agreement between the parties, so there's no dethroning here. I'll call the question. All in favor? Contrary? Carried. And thank you, Councillor Gambioli, for being willing to take on that added responsibility. And now reports from Councillor Snyder, please.
Yes, so on, I guess it was last Saturday, I had the opportunity of attending the West Vancouver Tennis Club's 100th year anniversary celebration. They've been in that location and wonderful stewards of that property, I believe now since, 1937, I believe, is when they took that location and have been stewards of the the West Vancouver Tennis Club and the Lands. They had a wonderful celebration. They serve an immense number of people in our community. They've got a very active membership with a wait list, serving the youth in the community. You do not necessarily have to be a member to be able to be involved in the youth programs that they put on. So, very, very lively, energetic group of people. And it was a pleasure to be there and honor them with a plaque and participate in some of their photos and what have you. So it was well done, and I congratulate them on 100 years.
Thank you, Councillor Snyder, and thanks for covering for me on that.
It was
very
my
special
pleasure.
occasion. Now, Councillor Cassidy, your new passion in life.
Well, I wouldn't exactly call it a passion, but I definitely would call it an appreciation. So on June the 14th, the same Saturday as the 100th anniversary of the tennis club, I was invited by the skateboarding community of the North Shore to come down and watch the skateboarding competition that they were having in Peter Sullivan Park. And I have to say, I was very impressed. I was very impressed with the organizational capability of the event, the participants, the camaraderie amongst those participants, and the respect that they had for one another, and the general public that had accumulated to watch the event. And also earlier that day, I had gone out to the AGM of the Lighthouse Park Preservation Society, which does a wonderful job of clearing the brush in Caulfield Park and in Lighthouse Park, and just in general, really being soldiers for Lighthouse. And they had the gathering at the little house in the park. It was extremely well attended, and I'm very supportive of that organization as well. I go out and I pull the weeds. And as I've said many times, if you're sitting at home and thinking, I don't have any friends or I'm kind of bored, the best way to get friends and get rid of boredom is to get out and get involved with other people. Thank you.
And did they get you on a skateboard?
No, but they were contemplating putting you on one.
Councillor Watt, please.
Actually, I'm looking at you in your beautiful suit and envisioning you skateboarding your way home after this meeting. But on Sunday in Horseshoe Bay, we had I don't know how many years in a row it's gone on, but the annual art walk where several local residents in the Glen Eagles, Whitecliff, and Horseshoe Bay community display their art in their homes, and it was extremely well attended. And it was kind of fitting that we had that this week as we look forward to revitalizing the boathouse in the bay.
Thank you, Councillor Watt. And could I ask you to make a motion to receive the reports?
I will indeed. I'd like to recommend that the oral reports from Mayor and Council be received for information.
Thank you, Councillor Gambioli. Question, all in favor? Contrary carried. Is there any member of the public who wishes to address council this evening? Yes, sir.
That is the only name on our speakers list, by the way, Mayor Sager, Mark Bettis. We did have someone signed up on Zoom, but they've left the meeting, so.
Okay. Thanks for waiting for us this evening, sir. Thanks for joining us.
Okay.
Oh, we have two people. Yes, sir.
Opportunity to present this. I emailed the council and the staff of the district a couple of weeks ago about this issue. It's another boring old speed issue, traffic safety issue, but I think this is a special case. I live on the intersection of 23rd and Jefferson Avenue, which, as you know, is right bang in the middle of a street where there's two schools, one's Irwin Park at one end and Pauline Johnson at the other. And this year we've had two incidents at that intersection where cars coming down or up 23rd have, there's been a collision with cars coming along Jefferson. And in both cases, there was damage to district property. Fire hydrant was taken out. 3 trees on my boulevard were taken out from this incident. And it could very easily have been a really serious case. Some, pedestrians could have been seriously injured or even killed. And I've lived there for 25 years, and it's always been a bit of a problem. There's always been issues with, especially on 23rd, cars coming down there and not seeing the stop sign. But for some reason, and I can't fathom what it is, it's become a lot worse this year, recently. As I said, 2 incidents this year.
May I just ask, is it a four-way stop or a two-way?
It's a two-way stop, and this is the issue. Jefferson has the right of way, so cars coming along Jefferson, theoretically they don't need to look and check who's coming down, and so very often people just go through there. Now, local residents, people that know the intersection well, always slow down. Everybody knows that. We've known that for years. So it's a known problem locally, but if you're not familiar with that area, then these things can happen. And so we feel the solution to this is that really it should be a four-way stop. And there should be speed bumps as well on 23rd. 23rd is a nice smooth tarmac. It's a beautiful road to drive down. You can build up speed. There's no, it's a nice steady surface, and people come down there too fast. And they just, I think very often, maybe because of overgrown hedges or something, they just don't see the stop sign and they go straight through there. So I think this is something we feel strongly about, and my wife and I and my neighbours, one of whom is here today, we started a petition and we dropped it in. We emailed our friends and neighbours in the neighbourhood. We have 70 people who have signed this petition to make this simple proposal that for, I think, minimal costs, you could put up a four-way stop there and speed bumps, and it would not be, it would solve the problem. And obviously, I think everyone in this room would agree that if no action were taken and there were another incident and something even worse happened, we'd all kind of regret that. So my request is that I don't know who makes these decisions, the engineering department. I've contacted them, but this time it be taken seriously.
Thank you, sir. Council hears you loud and clear on this. It is the engineering department, but council might be a little persuasive, Mr. Manager. The speed bumps are a bigger challenge. The four-way stop, I would hope, isn't.
Right.
The speed, we actually have $1 million in speed bump requests right now.
Right.
So
Councillor Gambioli explained this to me when she came back to me when I emailed, and she said she reckoned there was maybe 100 requests of this nature. So I appreciate that everybody feels strongly about this, but especially because of the schools there. If you go by there, just opening and closing time for the schools and look at the pedestrian traffic, families walking back and forth between the two, you'll see what I mean.
We appreciate you bringing this to our attention. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And sir? Thanks for your patience in joining us this evening.
Mayor and Council. My name is Gert Nitzek, and I live at 2303 Jefferson, which is the corner of Jefferson and 23rd. And I would like to voice my concern about the intersection, the safety of it. There have been 2 accidents, as Mr. Bettis alluded to, so far this year, resulting in property damage only. My concern is the number of traffic incidents that occur where cars traveling on Jefferson are being cut off, literally, by cars coming down 23rd, or both ways, 23rd, not stopping completely, they're mostly running stops. And it's evident through frequent honking and personal observation as well. So we're not just seeing the actual accidents happening frequently, but close calls. And I also want to point out that there's not just cars coming down on 23rd. There are kids on bicycles and scooters nowadays. And cars coming from 22nd, between 22nd and 23rd is actually sloped down. those cars tend to pick up speed. And when you combine the two with moving bicycles and kids trying to get across that intersection, it's just a recipe for disaster. So, like I said, combined with fast-moving cyclists and scooters coming down, and it's not that they don't want to stop, but by the time they get going again, they're trying to compete with the cars trying to get across that intersection. So it's simply an accident waiting to happen, and someone could get hurt badly or worse.
So we thank you very much
Yeah.
for bringing this to our attention this evening.
Great.
And we will discuss this forthwith with our
Appreciate that.
engineering
Thanks very
staff.
much.
So thank you.
Right.
Seeing no one else, could I have a motion to adjourn, Councillor Snyder? And
2025 regular council meeting be adjourned.
thank you. Question, all in favor? Contrary carried. Good evening, everyone. Thanks again.